Okay. Hello and happy Tuesday. Good morning. This is our first Zoom of the month for our Tuesday Leadership Zooms. We always hope that you get the best leadership training from these. And today you've got the best of the best. Blair Critch, I admire her so much. We're sideline sisters. She is I've enjoyed watching your journey over the years and the ups and the downs, and just love following you. And guys, she's never given up on her business. Like, she's all in all the time, and she's super smart when it comes to social media. So I'm very excited to just hand it over to her. And Blair, if you want to kind of just share your quick Thrive story, because everybody's like, well, who and where, how they get here. Kind of share that with us, and then we'll kick into the training.
Would love to. Well, thanks so much, Amber, for having me on. You guys, thank you so much. Amber, I always love following your Thrive journey too, because you're always so positive and happy. I really appreciate that about you. And I also just want to say to you guys, I know Amber introduced me as like really, really great at social media. But before I tell you guys my story, let me tell you this. I don't consider myself really great at social media, but I have figured out and mastered what works for me. And that's what I'm going to share with you guys today, because I really do believe in this world that the things have changed and they have shifted. And not only have things changed and shifted in our world and how we communicate through social media and how to meet new people through social media, which can be such a huge blessing, but also my life has shifted. So back in 2014, when I was first introduced to the Thrive experience, I had been with a jewelry company, Stella and Dot, for almost 5 years at that point with Elise Leininger. And we met through Facebook, which is so weird. I live in Fort Lauderdale, Florida. She lives in Montana. At the time, I was at home with my boys for 5 years from teaching kindergarten, and my husband and I fell into a really bad bankruptcy situation. We had 12 rental properties that we had to file bankruptcy with, and I found out my husband had an oxycodone addiction, and my world was just kind of falling apart. And at the time, I knew that it was spring of 2009, and I knew I didn't want to go back to teaching in the fall, because then I had to put my kids in morning care and aftercare, and really I wouldn't really even be making a dime. Wasn't sure how my husband was going to do with his addiction, if he was going to get through it or if I was going to have to leave him. But I was trying to support him. I felt God calling me to support him and help him. And so I kind of fell into this jewelry business. I saw Elise on Facebook. Back then, she was having a Facebook party with a friend of mine. And through the world of social media, I found this business. And boy, was it a blessing, because within the very first month of me starting a jewelry business, I had 10 parties and made over $3,000 in cash, and realized that's more money than I was bringing home teaching by the time taxes and morning care and aftercare were taken out. So it allowed me an opportunity to be home with my kids, to support my husband and help him, which I can tell you now, he's been sober since 2009 from not only pills, but from alcohol. And we are thriving in life. And when Elise left that jewelry business in fall or winter of 2019, it was for personal reasons, and she kind of fell into Thrive. And so 2014, she immediately reached out to me and was like, I got to tell you about this product. And I was like, girl, I'm doing great with the jewelry business. I know you left for personal reasons, but I don't want to get involved. And that was how I started. I was like, whatever. And let me tell you something. If any of you guys know Elise, I know she's not really in the business as much as she used to be, but if you know her, she has a very magnetic personality. She could sell, ice to Eskimos. So I was like, of course, you're going to do great with this. By the way, she's super skinny and she's into health. And I wasn't at that time. So I was like, how is an overweight midlife mom who has headaches every single week, neck discomfort, isn't feeling great, going to sell a vitamin supplement? Like, it's just not going to go well for me. And so I kind of ignored her for about 6 months, and I watched, and a bunch of our mutual friends got started, and then they were hitting auto bonus, which we didn't even have in the jewelry company. And there were a couple other things, like the fact that I only had like 2 people in my whole 4 years ever earn our lifestyle getaway with me. We only had 1 a year, and it was so hard to earn. And I was seeing like tons of people going on these trips with Elise, and there's still a lot of things that were attractive to me. So in July of 2014, I ordered the Thrive experience, really just to feel better. And within 4 days, I went from feeling horrible, hitting the snooze button 8 or 10 times a day, having neck discomfort, having headaches, not sleeping well at night, being irritable, barely ever having sex with my husband, to literally like back to my old self again. And by Saturday, my husband could tell such a difference in me that he ordered, my best friend ordered the next day, and I was sold by the end of the first week. So I I ended up quitting the jewelry business completely because I'm not the kind of person that can have one foot in, one foot out. And so I quit completely and joined Lavelle. And within 3.5 weeks, we earned auto bonus. My husband earned it 2 months later and hit 200K in 4 months. And I really believe that was because I was ignorance on fire. I always love it when Maria says that because it was so freaking true. I didn't look at numbers. I wasn't worried about numbers. I was worried about helping every single person hit 12K because that was life changing. You know, the average American is $400 away from bankruptcy. I've been there. It's a horrible experience to go through. You feel helpless. And I didn't want anybody else to ever experience that. And I thought, man, if I could just help people earn their auto bonus every single week, that could save them from being bankrupt or being financially burdened. And so that was my mission, was to help as many people as possible. And by the way, if you help over 20 people hit auto bonus, you're at 200K. So just think about that. Like 20 people, you could change 20 people's lives. I'm in the middle of reading an amazing book right now by Dan Sullivan. And I think the title is Whose Hero Do You Want to Be? Something like that. But it just reminded me of how I was 9.5 years ago when I started this business. I wanted to be a hero to people. I wanted to show them that they could hit auto bonus and just stick with that, even if you didn't want to grow any more than that. So I just want to put that in your head today, because right now, if people earn auto bonus, not only do they get that amazing $800 a month towards their car, which, man, you guys, that's life changing right now with the economy, but also they get a $12,000 bonus, which just freaking blows my mind. So I just wanted to share that. And anyways, long story short, it's completely changed my life. But I want to tell you one big reason why I really decided to join this business was because, remember how I told you my husband had that addiction problem? Well, in 2014, he was still struggling with not feeling great. You know, when you have an addiction and you stop drinking alcohol or taking pills or whatever your addiction may be, a lot of times your body is very depleted after that. And we had him on all different kinds of vitamins, actually from Dr. Amen, who's like a famous person. And sorry, I just heard music going off in my house and I'm here alone. So can you hold on 1 second? It's like really creepy.
Absolutely. So while she checks on that, let me just touch on that, what she was talking about the
All right,
auto
sorry, I'm
bonus.
back. It's coming from my son's room, so I'm not really sure what's going on. I'm just going to leave
Okay.
it right now.
Well, Blair, I wanted to touch on, and I'll let you get back to that, is on the auto bonus. Like, even if you don't choose to go get a qualifying vehicle, which, oh my gosh, I'm pretty sure we're the only company that has like 70 plus options for auto bonus. Like you can pretty much find one. But if you're not in a situation to do that yet, that $300 a month, if you think about it, that's $3,600 a year. Like, what could that pay for you? You know, and so that, and then think about how many people you could help do that. All right, back to it about your husband and vitamins.
Yeah. So basically, long story short, he just wasn't feeling great. We had him on these like really amazing, very expensive vitamins by Dr. Amen. We had gone and done a brain scan with him and all this stuff, spent all this money, and he still wasn't feeling great. And within 3 days of being on Thrive, his life completely changed. And so for me, I, was really passionate about that. Obviously, that's a medical claim, so I don't ever really share that. It's a part of our story that is kind of a little bit more private. We're very open about Ryan's addiction because we've been able to help and serve so many people through that. But the Thrive stuff, I kind of have to share, one-on-one with people about what it did for him. But that was a big reason that I think I was so on fire also to help people. So find your passion, find what it is. And so now my passion is menopause. You guys are going to kind of see that today, how I transformed my social media. I'm actually going to go ahead and share my screen with you guys. But what happened for me is back in 2020, that summer of COVID and all the other fun crap that we had going on, I found out I had ovarian cancer, a rare form called low-grade serous carcinoma. And I had to go through an operation for hysterectomy and then straight into chemotherapy in October of 2020, and did 6 rounds of chemotherapy, lost my hair, like the whole thing. And during that time, my business still sustained because this is a cloud-based business and you can work it online. And although I wasn't going out because of COVID plus having cancer, I had to be very careful with my immune system. I was able to continue to build my business through Facebook groups and meeting people online through that and through Instagram. And so I became very passionate about figuring out how to help other people figure out ways to be able to make that money online. And by the way, that's another reason why I will forever be loyal to Lavelle, is because they were so good to me during that time. Jason Camper was just amazing, like reaching out to me, checking in on me, sent me this beautiful Lavelle pink blanket. And I was also freaking making good money while I was home going through chemo. So I just freaking love this business and the fact that it's residual, and I built it really hard. I worked hard for those first, years. And I still do work my business every single day. I don't go a day without working my business, but I am so thankful I worked hard for those first couple of years to be able to really take that 8 months to just get healthy. And I really just checked in with customers, met new people online, had conversations, and continued to build in a very low key way. So this fall, I felt like I needed a reset. This summer, I took a couple classes on affiliate marketing, even though I wasn't really going to be an affiliate marketer. I was like, what is this? I'm seeing it pop up everywhere. I need to learn more about it. And so I took a class. I spent a couple $1,000s, and I figured whatever I learned from this will help my team. And it really has. One of the things that I did was I implemented it before I taught it. And in the very first month of me changing up my social media, I had 2.5 thousand, or 2,500 more views in 1 month. And that was how I knew, okay, this is working. So I'm going to share with you guys how I did this fall. And you guys are welcome to check out my Instagram. It's at Blair Critch and the number 2, the numeral 2, at Blair Critch numeral 2. You guys are welcome to check that out. But the very first thing that I learned, and I know you guys have heard this before, is who are you speaking to? You've got to know who you're speaking to. And I will never forget when it's Brock Johnson, right? Yeah, I think that's his name. Yeah. When he talked about this at one of our Thrive Paloozas, the first one he was ever at, I think so 2 or 3 years ago. And he said, you need to really niche down. Like if you're going to teach, like one of his customers was a paddleboard instructor, but really they niched down to helping, I think it was people with handicap that were doing paddleboarding. So you really niche down. And I'll be honest with you, I was like, I serve everybody. Everybody can handle the Thrive experience. Every woman needs a Thrive experience. Every mom, every woman. And I can't niche down any more than that. And that was for a while there, I was really kind of against this whole niche thing and getting very specific about who I was speaking to, because over that time that I had cancer, I was speaking to everybody and I was getting sales. And so I was scared to niche down anymore. But what I realized was Instagram and Facebook and TikTok and all these and other, online things, it's an algorithm, and it has to understand who you're speaking to. And it takes 90 days for it to understand who you want it to show you more of. So one of the things that I had to do is decide, who do I want them to show me more of? Who do I want Instagram to start pushing my content to? Who do I want Facebook to start pushing my content to? Well, so I decided to just focus on Instagram first and see how it would go. Because on Facebook, I'm gonna be honest with you, I have all my friends and family on there, and I didn't want to niche down too much because I like to be kind of more open. But on Instagram, I decided to go all in on menopause because I was medically pushed into menopause with my hysterectomy and then my chemotherapy. I had some really horrible symptoms. And then we came out with HDS, and I swear to you, 70% are gone of those symptoms. So for me, I'm really passionate about HDS. And I felt like that would be a great topic for me to really niche down on. So I decided I was going to help women that were in, midlife. Well, then I had to niche down even more. So it's going to be, okay, I'm going to specifically help women that are in menopause. Now, does this mean that I only post about menopause? Well, in my stories, you're going to see I have all kinds of things. I talk about my kids. I talk about my faith. I talk about my life. I talk about my health and wellness journeys. I talk about everything. But on my posts on Instagram and my reels, you're only going to see menopause. It's only going to be value and information only on my post, carousels, and reels, which is what goes on my actual grid on Instagram. Okay. So let's talk about stories first. Okay. Every single day in my stories, you're going to see my three steps. Why? Because it shows everybody that my store is open. It shows that I actually am still thriving, because I can guarantee you, if you don't show it for a couple of days, people think you're done with it, right? So every single day I show my 3 steps. In the morning, I show my Thrive experience. If you have a morning routine, show that, and always do something interactive immediately first thing in the morning. So what you can see right here is an example of an interactive post. I say double tap for an awesome Wednesday. And when they tap this little thing, all these little hearts pop up. You can actually change this when you go to GIFs, or wait a minute, let me see. I don't want to say that wrong. Let's see. When you go to your stories and you go to that little square at the top, it's just one of the little things. It's like a circle and it looks like a little comment thing like this. And then you can even change the emoji on the inside. But when they tap it, it makes a whole bunch of bubbles come up of whatever the emoji was. That shows Instagram when people tap it that you're interactive, right? And it's going to push more stuff to you through your algorithm. The more people engage with you, the better. So sometimes I use that. Sometimes I use a poll first thing in the morning. Sometimes I use a question or an add yours, something where people can be interactive with you. Okay. A huge organizational tip is I created albums on my phone this summer and I continue to add to them. So one album is called Morning, and all of my morning pictures that I take of my step 1, my step 2, my step 3 are in that album. So if I'm busy or I'm traveling, I don't have to go take pictures. I already have pictures. I have videos. I have pictures. I have things that I've already pre-made, and I can just change up the wording for them. Okay. Now I use the same song every single morning with my 3 steps. Okay, that's another little trick. It makes people realize, like, sometimes people aren't really looking. They just hit stories and they might walk away, but then they hear something and they hear that song and they're like, oh, they associate it with me because I use the exact same song every single morning with my 3 steps. So that's another little quick idea that I learned from the training that I did. Another album that I keep on my phone is Evening. So for my balance, my biotic, if you use sleep gummies or rest, all of those pictures that you've been taking, put them all into that album so you can grab it easily. Another album that I have on my phone is motivational quotes or Bible verses. I have those so they're easy for me to grab because you want to at least do 3 times a day on your stories with at least 5 to 7 stories a day. So again, morning is your 3 steps or anything else that you do with your morning routine. Afternoon is about your life. What are you doing? I like to think of it as like behind the scenes. Like if I was a real housewife, what would people want to see? What would people have fun with? And if you have nothing to share or you just aren't thinking of anything creative, then just share a positive message. Hey, by the way, now we have fresh meals. So that would be a great album to create in your phone is every time you're eating a meal, take a picture of yourself eating that meal and you could throw it up for afternoon. I have that album now. And so like 2 days ago, I forgot to take a picture of my shells, stuffed shells. And so I just went and grabbed a picture that I used a couple days before and I put it up like, this is what I'm eating for lunch today, right? In the evening, again, same thing. You want to show things from your day. If you can do an interactive poll or a question, that's also a great idea. And I think that was, yep, I hit everything. So stories are really important, obviously, because that's where you show like your true authentic self. So be yourself, show things because things that are interesting to you are probably also interesting to other people. Like, for example, today I showed these ginger turmeric pineapple shots. And yesterday I showed how I was making them. Today I showed myself drinking them. And people like to see that kind of stuff because they're curious. Okay. Next, carousels. This is a really big thing on Instagram right now. All carousels are is when you put something up on your grid, an actual post, but it's multiple photos. But I'm not talking about putting up like 6 different photos of your kids. I'm talking putting up a series of different graphics that work together. So like an example would be if you were making a carousel on why to eat more plant-based. So the first one might be a hook, right? How to eat more plant-based and then and lose weight. How to eat more plant-based and reduce your menopausal symptoms. Then on page 2, maybe I show tip number 1, and then page 3, tip number 2, and 3, and 4, and 5. And then the last one, whatever is the last page of your carousel needs to be some kind of CTA, call to action, whether that's grab more information in my link or message me this to get your free recipe for blah, 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 right? You want to make sure you have some kind of call to action. And these carousels are all about creating a value series with them. Again, you guys are welcome to go look at my Instagram and check this out. I try to do 1 a week or 1 every other week, depending on how much time I have, because I create them on Canva. And it does take a little bit of time. But what I do is I like to plan out these a month ahead. And whatever I create my carousels on and create the graphics on Canva. And by the way, you can put into Canva that you want to make a carousel post for Instagram and it will pop up. So it's the correct size for Instagram. And I also use ChatGPT, which I'll show you guys in a second, to create that. And then whatever content I use for that, I also use to create an email for my customers. So I send out an email 2 times a month to all of my customers, my current customers, past customers, free customer accounts. And by doing that, it just gives them valuable information so they continue to think about me. And so I use that same content to make it easier for myself. And you'll see that in just a second on the next slide. One of the things I always recommend for posts is making sure that you choose to have your Facebook and your Instagram. If you choose to have your Facebook and your Instagram linked, that you're using the correct sizing. So I only have Instagram and Facebook connected for my stories to make things easier for me. But for my posts, I actually don't have them connected. And the reason is because the sizing is a little bit different. It doesn't show up as good in my opinion. And Facebook is really for everybody in my world, where Instagram is really focused on menopause. So you might want to unattach them if you have them attached once you figure out what your niche is. And then also my job is always to think about how can I create posts that are helpful, valuable, and not just saying how much I love my vitamins, right? So a really easy way to do that is by planning out your week. Maybe you decide to do Mondays to be all about why you love Mondays, how you used to hate Mondays before the Thrive experience and why you love them now. Maybe on Tuesdays, you're going to talk more about business and making money in midlife, okay? Because remember, I'm focused on menopause. So I'm talking to that midlife woman. Maybe on Wednesday, I'm going to talk about a menopause topic or a wellness topic. And on Thursday, maybe something about menopause again, but I call it a Thursday thought. And on Friday, of course, we all love to do Flex Friday. So I talk about why I use Thrive or why other people have used Thrive, right? Saturday, a great idea is to shout out a product or a thing that I do to help me with my menopause. Okay, so maybe your niche is women who have children who are autistic. A girl on my team, that's her niche. And so on Saturdays, she either shouts out a product or something of the Thrive experience that helps her as a mom of autistic kids, or sometimes she highlights another business that does things in her local area or that she knows that helps families with autistic children. Why? Because when she tags them on a Saturday shout out, now they're going to go and repost that, right? When you tag somebody on stories, how often do they go and hit, because they make it so easy. All they have to do is hit add to story. Now they're shouting you out to their whole community. And all these other people are checking you out now because they're like, who's that girl? Okay. And then I don't work on Sundays. I obviously check in if people are in their VIP, but that's it. Sundays are my day off to spend with the Lord. So for me, I don't actually even do social media on Sunday. It kind of resets how to use chat. So this, I'm going to try to turn it up as much as possible. And I know it's a little bit fuzzy, but it's a great way for you guys to learn how to use Chat GPT for content and make your life so much easier. Chat GPT to get some great content for what you're doing. So I go to Chat GPT login. Great. The more specific you can be, the better. So I'm going to say, help me write an Instagram post for women in menopause on why probiotics are important during menopause. Okay, now my biggest tip I'm going to tell you is you want to now use this information to put in some Thrive products, right? Or other products that maybe you have affiliates for. And then you also want to make sure you make it in your own words. So although this looks really cute, it might not be my words. So here's what I do. I copy it. And then because we're sharing screen, I'm going to now go to here. I don't want you guys to see my text messages. Sorry about that. Okay, so now I go to a document. I'm going to show you guys this really quick. All right. So now I'm going to look at this and see if it sounds like me. Embrace menopause with gut health. That doesn't sound like me at all. I'm going to say something like gut health is super important during menopause. Who knew? And then I might put like that funny emoji, right? Like with the arms up. Okay. Hey, ladies, menopause isn't, I don't want to say, hey, ladies. Okay. I'll probably say, let's be real. Menopause is a natural phase of life, but it doesn't have to be a struggle. One of the key, and see, like, I don't want that emoji there. One of the key allies you may not have considered during this transformative journey is probiotics. Menopause can bring about a range of changes from hot flashes to mood swings. But did you know your gut health plays a significant role in your experiencing these symptoms and how you experience it? Here's why probiotics keep working. Okay, hormone balance, bone health, gut health, digestive comfort. So then I'll probably throw in there some of the things that I do, right? Hormone health. That's why I use HDS. Bone health. That's why I stand on my vibrating plate for 10 minutes a day and do non-negotiable 30 minutes of walking feet to the ground every day. Gut brain health. Healthy gut. This is why I not only use my Thrive experience, but I also use Balance and Biotic every single day. Digestive comfort. Yep, this is again why I use Biotic and Balance every day, non-negotiable. Okay, so I'm just going to add those things. I'm not going to do it right now for time, but that's how I would fix this up. And then I would use this information. I could even make 4 different reels out of this. And I can also use this information for a post. I can use it for an email, and I can also use it to make different reels. Okay. So that's also how I make my different carousels, right? You see, I can make a whole carousel out of that, but then I also can use it for 4 different reels. I can also use it for an email, and I can also use it for a post. So I got a ton of content out of just one chat GPT. Okay. So that's the kind of stuff that will make your life so much easier. And I do that the first Saturday of every single month. I just sit down, I figure out what are going to be my 2 emails for the month for my customers, what are going to be my real focus for every single week. And I also decide like what are going to be my carousels for the month. And that just makes my life so much easier when it's already just done, planned out. And then when I have time, whether it's right then or a different time, I go and make those on Canva. All right. Reels. These are essential, but you don't need to overthink them. I think they used to have to be like super silly and fun, and people were always dancing in them or making up a routine. Like all that stuff is out now. You know, one of my favorite people to follow on this is Lindsay Coggin, and hers are just like freaking simple. She's just like sitting in front of a computer or standing there or walking. Like they're never anything super big or elaborate. And also, let me say this too. Don't worry about how many comments or engagements you get underneath those, because it's a 90-day plan and you want to focus on just putting the content out there and not worry about how many people are looking at it. Okay. In the beginning. So for example, I was doing 1 a day, Monday through Saturday. Now, when I made this slide, that was what they were recommending. Now they're saying you only really need to do 3 a week. So I'm doing 3 to 4 a week now. And I'm creating different types of reels, and then I batch them. So about 2 times a week, I create them. And then you can actually even schedule them now inside of Instagram if you want to, or I leave mine in drafts. So I create them on a day that works for me, and then I leave them in my drafts. So I already have the wording and everything. By the way, here is a little tip of something that I do. I love to put cover photos on them because it makes my grid look really nice. So when I decide what my reels are going to be for the month, I create those cover photos right away on Canva, and I just store them there. And I kind of reuse these 3 different looks. You'll see if you go to my Instagram over and over again. So all I have to do is just change up the wording in them. But once I made them, I just changed the wording. Another really important thing about my reels to make my life easier is I use an app called Boards. I don't know if you guys use that, Amber, on your team or not. Boards. Sometimes. Okay. So I created my own board that's menopause post, because I don't need to say the same thing over and over again. Every single week, I talk about HGS in my menopausal reels. Every single week. Well, not every week, but a lot of times I talk about itchy skin or itchy ears. A lot of times I talk about gut health. A lot of times I talk about exercise. A lot of times I talk about plant-based eating. So I already have what I wrote up for my, like you put your reel in and then you got your actual like wording, your caption, they call it. So for the caption, I don't rewrite those every single time. I have them saved in boards, and I have them labeled plant-based, itchy skin, sex life, all the different things about menopause that I know I'm going to need for my different reels. And I just reuse the verbiage. Okay. I reuse the caption. I just don't reuse the actual reel. And so that's again saved in the drafts. All I have to do is click it when I'm ready to post it. I video all things that I'm doing all the time. So I love to just keep like a little, tripod in my kitchen. If I'm cooking meals or I'm making things or making my shakes, I will video that. When I go for a walk, I try to video some stuff outside. When I go somewhere beautiful, anytime you're on a lifestyle getaway or Thrive-palooza or any event with Thrive, you want to like just take tons of video footage, and it can just be video footage of nature, even, you guys, but use those and throw them into an album on your phone called Reels. Okay. If you don't want to create that album, you can always go on your phone to videos, and I just scroll through all my videos from the last 5 years, and I'll just pull one out and use it. Okay. And there's different types of reels that you want to make sure you hit. Sometimes it can be funny about your niche, right? Like menopause, I might talk about something funny about how, all of a sudden out of nowhere, all of a sudden my ears are itching. Like, what the crap is that, right? Or I'm bumping into things all the time. Those are actually menopausal symptoms. And a lot of times people don't even know it. And so those are like funny ones that I can do. I also like to do reels that hit pain points of my niche. I like to do reels that solve problems for people in my niche. And I like to obviously give a lot of value and information on my reels. So those are like, 4 different kinds of reels that I can create. So if you're creating 4 a week, create one that's funny about your niche, one that hits a pain point in your niche, one that solves a problem for people in your niche, and one that gives value and information for people in your niche. Okay. Also, you always want to look for trending audio. And if you can find trendy audio that's under 1,000 people using it, that's even better. And you want to look for fun videos and other people's in your niche. So this was interesting for me because I actually thought, well, I don't want to follow other people in my niche. Now listen carefully. I'm not saying follow thrivers. Don't, because that's going to mess up your algorithm. I'm saying follow other people in your niche. So my niche is menopause. Now I'm following other people in that menopausal niche. Maybe yours is nurses, midlife nurses. And so that's your niche. And so you're going to be looking for other women that are nurses that have social media presence. And the reason you do that is because the more that you follow them and connect and engage on their social media, then Instagram knows, okay, she wants to see more of that. And she wants those people to see more of her stuff. And that's what's important, to start growing and having Instagram push your stuff out to the right people. Okay. It helps them to know who you're trying to connect with and other people that would also like your subject. Okay. So it's really important when it comes to reels and posting and things like that. I was just talking to you guys about the Boards app and how I use it. You can see this little video right here. I just show you really quick, like how I did that. So now I have like 60 something captions on there. But that was when I very first started. You'll see that I had just a few things on there. And so that's how I put up something, I go to my boards, and then I find my menopause board, and I just pick the one that fits with it the right way. Okay. Also, you can repurpose things on Instagram, right? So I put up my reel on Instagram. If I want to be on TikTok or Facebook Reels or YouTube Shorts, all I have to do is take that reel that I made on Instagram and go to this website, saveinsta.app. Okay. It's not an app on your phone. I know it says app. It's not actually an app on your phone. You just put it in the URL box and it will pop up, and then you can upload the video. So you copy and paste the link from your Instagram reel, you put it in there, and then it allows you to download it without the watermark from Instagram. And then you can upload that to YouTube Shorts, Facebook Reels, TikTok, if you want to use some of those other platforms as well. And again, save the caption, what you wrote in your boards, so you can reuse that over and over again. All right. So it's great and fine and dandy to start working on, creating that niche and getting focused down on your Instagram. But if you're not going to go back and see who is actually checking out your stories, engaging on your polls, noticing your reels, all that kind of stuff, then it's worthless. Right. And I'll be honest with you, sometimes I'm not great at this. Sometimes I go a week or two and I don't use, whatever organizational thing I use. Now, some people, I made this little chart for myself. Some people have other charts that they've made for themselves. Some people have really cool spreadsheets that they made for themselves. Some people just have a spiral notebook, whatever works for you. For me, this was just something very helpful. So for example, let's say this lady, Mary Moses, okay, that's her handle, @MaryMoses. So I like to put their Instagram handle and their name so I don't forget if it's different, right? Because sometimes, like, I'm Blair Critch, but my Instagram is Blair Critch #2 because somehow somebody took Blair Critch. So stories so I looked, was she on my stories? Yes, she engaged on a poll about menopausal symptoms. Okay. Has she been on any of my reels or posts? Yes, she wrote LOL on one of them and me on another one. Okay. Did I follow them and did I engage with her? Yes, I'm following her right now and I'm engaging with her right now. Does she have a free customer account or any other notes that I need to create? I'm sending a sample of HDS and we created a free account. I would actually, now I'm adding in what their username and password is if they gave it to me or if I created it for them, just to keep myself even more organized. Okay. So this is how I go back and check. Now, one of the things I will tell you about stories is obviously stories only last for 24 hours. Lately, sometimes mine have been lasting even less than that. I don't know what's going on with with Instagram. So like I put something up on Sunday night and Monday afternoon, it was already gone. I was like, wait a minute. So I am every single morning, I have a 10-minute spot on my calendar to just go in and check my stories in 10 minutes at night. So what I do sometimes if I'm busy is I'll just screenshot who, you can go in and see who actually engaged in the poll, the story, or who's looking. You'll see their little, little face in a circle, and I'll just screenshot that sometimes so I can go back and see later who is engaging with me. Okay. Especially when I do family stuff or personal stuff, I find more people engage with me when I do that. So then I want to make sure I want to see who is actually looking at my stuff, but maybe just not normally engaging. So I just want to share with you guys also some of my favorite apps and tips that I found over this time. So I really want to also emphasize that it takes 90 days for Instagram or any social media platform to know who you're wanting to push that the content to. So start now and keep going. I made this for my team in the fall. So it says go through December, but if you started now, go through, it would be February, March, April. Right. And so by the end of April, you should have pretty good idea of if these people are starting to show up and are actually starting to engage in your stuff, right? Or if you need to niche down even more. Save as much as you can to reuse to make your life simple. Like I was sharing with you guys about boards, albums on your phone. I do not love to be on social media. This is not my jam. It's not where I find joy. Where I find joy is like in the real world, right? Like being with my friends, reading the Bible, going for a walk, being in nature. Social media is not really my jam. But what I do is I set myself up for success by having easy, simplified systems so that I can get in there every single day and be engaging in there and then get out. Get in, get out. Right? That's the way I want it. So albums on your phone, using boards to save those captions and even your hashtags. I book 2 times a week to make more content. Sometimes I don't even need it, and that's awesome, but it's on my calendar. Book one of those times. So we have a content planning for our team on Fridays. So we tell them to be on that because it helps them set up their social media for the week. Maybe you as a leader decide to start doing that. If you're going to make one day a week the day that you spend an hour on content planning for the next week or the month ahead, why not invite your team to join you on a Zoom and do it together, right? You're teaching them and you guys will engage together on that Zoom. And by the way, my team gives me freaking brilliant ideas. Like I might say, I can't think of anything else that I could possibly say about this. And they'll be like, oh, Blair, I love it when you talk about this, or I would really love to know about this. And that helps me with ideas. So getting together with your team or some other sidelines to do content planning is a brilliant idea. The following apps that I love the most, I love captions. Now I know we can make captions on Instagram, but I love the captions app because it will emphasize certain words and it's just really cute. So I'll try to do like maybe one a week using that. Spacey is a really cool app. It actually allows you to write up what you want to write for your caption for Instagram with spacing the right way. Another one is Vixer and InStories. They just create some really cool reels if you need some good ideas. And then on the computer or online on your phone is that saveinsta.app to remove the watermark. And I also put on the calendar 3 timers a day. Now I do this for my breath work, and then I make sure I post something for my stories. So I stop 3 times a day and do some deep breath work. If you've never tried that before, super important for you. And so I will stop when those timers go off and I do my breath work. It takes about 3 minutes. And then I just go and check my stories and add something to it. It helps me to kind of stay consistent with posting those stories 3 times a day. Because again, like I said, I'm not really on social media all day. I'm not checking it all day. And when I do, I find I actually don't have as good a mood when I'm on my social media too much. So for me, I just have those timers set. And then I know I do my breath work and then I hop on and check and see what else I can add to my stories and check to see if anybody has engaged in my stories. And then again, put on your calendar to check in at least once a day to engage in your stories, posts, and reels with anyone who's commented or engaged with you. And if you have anything that's an app or content or anything that's working for you on social media, share it in the chat, because everyone will benefit from learning, different apps and ideas and things that work for you. Also, I always want to emphasize this. You want to be a giver, not a taker. You've got to engage on other people's stuff for your algorithm to really work. So using 3, 2, 1 is so important. Find those other people that have content in your niche and go 3, 2, 1 on their social media. Find hashtags that relate to your topic in all different number ranges. So I have all different hashtags. Some of them have 250,000 following. Some have 500 following, some have 1,000, some have 10,000, some have over 1 million. I do all different kinds of groups because then all different kinds of people will see it. Geotags and hashtags are a great way to find new people. I think people were getting away from hashtags, but if you can do hashtags and then hide them in your stories, so do like 5 hashtags in your story and then kind of hide them to the side so nobody sees them. It's actually really great because I've had people say when I asked how they found me that they were looking for menopausal help or menopausal tips, and I popped up, my story popped up, and that's because I used the hashtag, right? Otherwise they would have never been able to find me. So using hashtags in stories, but then minimizing so nobody sees them, it's a really great way to meet new people that way. Also, by using geotags, hashtags, and things like that, you're going to find other people and be able to engage on their content. So let's see, I'm going to stop the share. Anybody, I know I went super fast. Does anybody have any questions or anything they want to ask or anything they were unclear about?
I'll let people post in there and I'll just
Great.
touch on some things as that were coming up while we're going. One was, which chat GPT app do you use?
Okay, great question. Let me see what it's called.
I think yours is
It's
the
just
original
ChatGPT, isn't it?
OpenAI.
Yeah, it's chat.openai.com.
Yeah. So you originally would go to OpenAI website, and then now they've actually made an app. I will say be careful when you're doing that. Get the app strictly from the website, because I did Chat GPT search in apps and like it didn't, nowhere did it say I was going to be charged. And I just like I clicked on it, looked at it. This was it was not Chat GPT, but it like looked like it was. And next thing I know, I'm getting charged every month for an app I never even downloaded. So I was like, what the heck? And I had to, go find it and all that. So definitely make sure that you can go, yeah, I'll type the website here in just a second.
Oh, I can type it. I'll just copy and paste it.
Okay. And then, okay, so next I have a tip when you're talking on Reels. Have you ever, any of you, have you ever had the situation where you have all these drafts in your Instagram and then somehow you accidentally got logged out of Instagram, or your phone died, you had to get a new phone, and when you get a new phone, you got to log back into Instagram, it deletes all your drafts. So my tip is, and I do this every time I make a draft, I download, so before it goes into drafts, I hit the download button. It will download without the music, but I download the video. I put it in my own album on my phone called Reels Drafts. And I screenshot also whatever sound I used. And then that way, if that happens, it's happened before. If that happens, you can then upload, you can go get it, download it, and you have access to it, is what I'm trying to say. My words are crazy today. Anyway, and then you just go find the sound again. Let's see next. Okay. Blair, have you noticed this? I actually love this because I hate having a bunch of different apps trying to figure out where to go and use and all that, right? Instagram keeps adding more features, and they do that to keep you in their app instead of using other apps. And so, there's apps that people were using to get templates and things, and you were having to pay for those. Instagram, now a lot of those, if you like certain reels, it'll say use template, and it just auto does it for you. So I personally love that. Do you think there's anything wrong with using it that way, or is it the algorithm?
No, the more you can use just Instagram, and then obviously, if you want to use it for other platforms, make sure you use that saveinsta.app so that you can take the watermark off. But the more you can use inside of an app that you're actually posting on, the better, because they like that, right? They're going to push your content out more if you use that. So I think that's awesome. And the more you can use it, the better.
And on the watermark thing, so if you download your video first, again, it'll download without sound. It doesn't have a watermark, and you can go and then get the sound on those other apps. I personally need to be better about using TikTok and all the other platforms. It's a struggle.
It's hard.
Okay.
Well, also one other thing about that too, Amber, about what you said about saving those to the album on your phone. You guys, if something does well, you can reuse it, right? You can reuse it with different sound 3 or 4 months later. So it's such a great idea, Amber, that you're saving those to an album. I actually just started doing that the last couple of months because I was noticing that, like, sometimes I'm talking about the same subject again, but I can just change up the song and change up some different wording in it.
Yeah, absolutely. And sometimes the drafts, they like go wonky, and so it's just good to have your own backup. Okay, there was a question here. Oh, can you explain geotags and then hashtags in your stories? Because for me personally, I don't use hashtags in stories because I guess I thought only people that already follow me see my stories. So
Yeah, no, because I have people in my stories right now. I just clicked on a girl yesterday and I was going to 3, 2, 1 her and I realized, oh, I can't even see her post. I can only see her stories. So, yeah, but okay. So geotagging, guys, is basically about location. So it's a way that you can find location or an area or a specific place. So think about your niche, right? Mine's menopause. So where would somebody who maybe has menopause or is in midlife woman in Fort Lauderdale, Florida, like what's a place that maybe she would go to, right? So I might look at some med spas near me, or I might look at, well, right now I'm actually looking at delivery meal places, guys. This is a great tip. So I'm looking at the local, there's one, actually, I just went to it yesterday to pick up its flyer because I noticed a lot of my friends who are in menopause liked their page and were looking at their stuff. And so it's called Fit Life. It's just a local place. I went in there, I got their pricing so I can show it Thursday at my tasting party that I'm having at my house. Theirs is more expensive than ours and not grass-fed, wild caught, or antibiotic free. So that's a great way. I would have even found this place if I hadn't done geo tagging. So I would just put in Fort Lauderdale, pick up meals, and a whole bunch of places came up. So that's all geotagging is. It's looking for locations or specific places around you. So just kind of thinking about, who you're talking to.
okay. Like I've started, and I guess this would be the same, like you can go find people via the locations tag. But I've also started doing the locations, like when I was in Costa Rica, like I was
Yes.
doing that in my stories and things like that. And because then people can find you as well. Something that you said about who to follow, that you want to follow people in your niche. I saw one lady, Colleen Nichols, she said, follow your ideal client, not your competition. And how true is that? Because if we follow our competition, we're putting ourselves in the comparison game where, oh, and what happens is, because this was happening to me, I liked one video, one reel, and then the next thing you know, all the Facebook, or not Facebook, Instagram is showing me those people over and over and over again. And I'm like, that's not what I want to see. I want to see the people I can help.
It's true. That's a great quote. I also saw in the chat, a lot of people are talking about different things that you can do with AI. I also forgot to say this, you can be very specific with AI and you can even say like, I'm not super funny on social media. I feel like in person with my friends, I can be funny, but for some reason online, I'm very informative. The teacher of me comes out. I just want to teach people. And so funny doesn't come naturally for me online. And so I will say like, help me create a funny post about XYZ. And I get like very specific with them. But you can also ask AI when the best time to post a reel is also. So I just learned that the other day, and now I'll go on and I'll be like, hey, what's the time for midlife women in Fort Lauderdale, Florida to see an Instagram reel? And it will be like, oh, this is the best time today to post that. Because they have the statistics, right? AI has the statistics to be able to say, okay, it's really high at 12:30 in the afternoon for women in the age group of 50. So it just helps you to get it seen better.
That is freaking awesome. I do love that. And Stephanie Grawczyk, I'm going to unmute you because after I say this, I want you to tell us what you mean about Facebook and Instagram having their own AI. There it goes. Okay. So one thing is when you're doing that in ChatGPT and it comes out and maybe it just comes out like a ton of information. You're like, oh my God, that's way too long of a post. You can literally say, make it shorter or make it funny, or, you can do that in your same thread of ChatGPT so that you can tweak each one. And like I do, Blair, when you were doing yours, I'm like, that's exactly what I do. I put it in my notes app. And I sit there and I'm like, I wouldn't say that. I wouldn't say that. And like, it's more, you're not using it to be a robot. You're using it to help just give you some creativity or to spur some, what do you call that when you're like the brain dump, right? What is that called? It's super old school where you just start writing stuff down and it's like a brain exercise to trigger ideas. We used to do it in like writing in high school. I forget what they call that when you're doing an outline and all the words. Anyway, if anybody knows that, put it down here. It's going to drive me crazy all day. All right, Stephanie, are you where you can talk?
Yeah, I might lose you though in like 4.2 minutes.
Okay, well, tell us really quick what you mean about Instagram and Facebook. Where's their own AI?
Okay, so let me just quick look here. So when you
No,
go to
you're
Facebook,
driving. Don't be doing that. Just talk.
when you're in Facebook and on Messenger, literally, like for me, it's right, there's this little blue circle for me. I click that blue circle, it's right by my search bar, and that is where I can go have AI go tell me anything.
In Messenger, yeah. So in Messenger, yeah. Okay.
And then in messages also, on Instagram, you've got your own AI there, and you can even set up what your character wants to be. But what I love about it is when it types a crap load of stuff, you can say more, you can say next, you can say, just switch words up. For me, like the less hashtags I use, the better for me. And that's just for some reason, my algorithms, but just mess around with it, play around with it, and you'll see. But those AI chats, especially when you're like, oh, I don't even know what to say anymore, go to the AI thing and it does a crap ton of different options that you can work with.
I love it. I love it. Okay. Thank you, Stephanie. Get there safe. Okay. You make me nervous when you're driving. All right. Blair, what are any last minute tips, tricks? I would love it just if you kind of go back over. I know this was how we started the Zoom was ignorance on fire. So like I feel like, yes, we've given you a lot of information today and yes, utilize it. But I love, people come in new. Okay, I have to learn all the things. I have to know exactly what I'm doing. No, you don't. We didn't know what we were doing. And we grew this multi-million-dollar organization because we were running with, I have to thrive in people's bodies. I have to introduce the experience to this many people. I have to get the opportunity out to this many people. So to any last minute tips, tricks, and touch on that, please.
Yeah, sure. I mean, it's kind of like how I am right now with Fresh Meals. So Fresh Meals and I did this with HDS as well. I just went back to what did I do the first 4 months that I was in business? And the first 4 months that I was in business, well, I'll tell you the first month I was in business, I literally went through every single person in my phone. And I just went through that and I was like, I'm going to reach out to 30 people a day. Now, I'll be honest with you. Everybody that's on here probably has a big network now because you are a leader on Amber's team. But for me, when I first started, yes, I had done Stella and Dot. So I'd kind of grown some, a network of people, right, that I knew. A lot of people were following me on Facebook because I met them at a jewelry party or whatever. And I had people's phone numbers. So I just literally went through my phone and I was committed, okay, to reaching out to 30 people a day. And in those 30 people a day, it wasn't a copy and paste message, but it was kind of generic. It was, I did copy a little bit of it, but then I added in my own verbiage to each person, like, hey, Melissa, I know we are both high school friends and we haven't talked in a while. Love seeing how your kids are growing up. I was thinking about you today because LOL, we are the same age, which means you're probably having the same issues as me. Bump, bump, bump. And that's why I reached out because I finally found something that works for me. If you're interested, let me know. Just message me back. I'd love to get you some information. Okay. I sent that out to 30 people a day and I didn't care about the responses, but I can guarantee you that if you're doing that, like yesterday, I sent out 30 messages to invite to this fresh meal tasting party I'm having Thursday night. I don't care if they come or don't come. I've now dropped the seed. And so out of the 30 people that I reached out to yesterday, I have 6 committed to come Thursday night. And I had 4 that ordered yesterday. And my goal this month, and I hope all of your goal this month, is to get 20 orders of 150 or more in order to get that $1,000 bonus. Because not only am I going to get that $1,000 bonus, I'm also going to bring in $3,000 worth of volume. Some of it I already have because I usually have about 17 auto ships every single month to keep myself at Auto Elite. But I also know that that's going to allow me to bring in some new people that might be interested in the business because my goal is to get some new people started and help them hit this rank advancement. I also know that now, boom, I'm going to hit the lifestyle getaway right away because I'm always more than 4K a month, right? I'm 200K every month. Plus, we need to have a certain amount of PPA orders. Well, I have a lot of auto ships, but these need to be new people. So fresh meals, I'm reaching whole new people. right? People that maybe have just never, I had one girl order yesterday. I realized she had put it in her email and it said it was already in use. So I put it in my system. She had set up a free customer account with me in 2014 when I started. Never ordered, never would try Thrive, came to a couple of my events, never was interested. She ordered the fresh meals yesterday and boom, now I have her as a brand new customer order. It counted as my PPA, even though she set up an account with me back in 2014. So I would just say, like, get out there and share. And I know our bread and butter is not these new fresh meals, but guys, I'm looking at it like it's a new way for me to have a conversation. And by the way, everybody that's coming to my event Thursday night, we have this really cool sheet that Kelly Hoover created where people are going to fill out information about their tastings. And at the bottom, it says additional health goals. Check all that apply. And it's got things like appetite control, better sleep, better mood, improved skin or hair, need a detox, need better immune system, have female hormone symptom improvement, mental clarity, more energy. So I can talk to them about Thrive. And everybody who comes Thursday night, I'm telling them that if you order an 8-pack that night, I'm giving you $50 in credits to put towards. And if they're a new customer, I only have to give them 25 because they're going to get a 25 off coupon from Lavelle. And my goal is for them to purchase something that night. I will help them add on to their order so I can get their order over $150, right? Because the 8-pack's only 111. I need to have 20 people that order 150 or more. By the way, I have like 8 customers I realized on AutoShip who only order capsules. I've tried and tried and tried and tried to get them to order other things. That's what they love. That's what they've stuck with. Some of them have been with me for the whole 9.5 years that I've been thriving. And so if I could just get them to add fresh meals to their AutoShip this month, that would count as well. So those are just all like some of the tips and things that I'm doing right now to build my business, because I'll tell you, I'm at a point right now where I need new people. I need some new blood. I need some new excitement for myself, for my team, for my energy. And I know that if I can get some people in with these fresh meals, I can talk to them about the business opportunity and really help them with our economy and the things that are going on right now and this rank advancement bonus.
Love it. Love it. Yes, guys, take all the ideas, take all the notes, go back through this. Yes, I know people have already been asking me. Yes, the recording will be up later today. We'll have the YouTube link and all the things. Blair, there was one last question about the captions app. Can you send the link to the correct captions app?
Well, it's an app, so I don't have a link to it, but it's just called Captions. Like literally, that's all it's called. It's an app. And they do have captions on Instagram, so you could use the ones on Instagram. I just every once in a while I like to use that particular one because it like kind of emphasizes words.
Okay.
Pick which words to emphasize.
Yeah, there's definitely a lot of captions apps. If you will just
black and white. So it's black, the white thing in it.
That first
Yes.
one. Okay. All right. Okay.
It's
Awesome.
one that Brock Johnson recommended years ago at one of our Thrive events.
Okay. All right. Awesome. Thank you again so much. We appreciate you greatly. Guys, it is the beginning of the month. Let's crush this. Like, start now. I know I see a lot of people, you work so hard at the end of the month. What if you worked as hard at the beginning of the month as you do at the end of the month? What if that momentum plummeted forward and pushed you into, oh, I'm already set myself up to earn the getaway. I've already hit this, this customer acquisitions bonus. Let's run. And remember, yes, meals. I love what you said, Blair, at the end on the tasting party ideas. So excited about that. I've been telling all my team, like, order extras, get a tasting party. And it doesn't have to be for your Thrive team. Like my HOA, my community, my neighborhood, I'm like, hey, who wants to come over on Tuesday? Let's have a tasting party. I just ordered all these new meals and I would love to get your feedback. It just super simple to get people in your space again. All right. Thanks again. Everybody, we are super grateful that you hopped on today and we will see you next Tuesday.
Bye, guys.